So Groot is one of the best tanks in Marvel Rivals by far, and since most players don't know how to use him correctly, I've made a comprehensive guide to show you how to run this guy right so you can hard carry in competitive. First, his basic attack, which is Vine Strike, which has a damage range of 20 meters. Next up is his secondary Spore Bomb, which is an AoE attack. But now let's get into what makes Groot special, his walls. So Groot has two walls. He has a big wall and he has a small wall. Both do something very, very different. The small wall, when you hit enemies nearby, lash out and do damage. It's amazing how many players do not know that. If you were standing next to his small wall and you do damage to the enemy player, the wall will attack them. So if you're going against a Groot and he does a small wall, don't just stand in front of it. Get out. Now let's talk about his big wall. If you hit an enemy near the big wall, it gives you bonus health. Next up is his ultimate Strangling Prison. Everyone knows his ult at this point. It's a massive vacuum that sucks enemy players in and imprisons them for a short duration, doing small tick damage. When timed correctly, this ultimate can wipe entire teams. Now that we've talked about Groot's kit, let's go over strategy. Your job as Groot is to try to box players off from their own healers when you're in big fights. You should be focusing out tanks. Your goal should be to get walls behind enemy tanks in order to isolate them from their own healers in the backline so they can't get healed, and you and your team can do damage without having any interruption from the players that are stuck behind the walls. Again, I would use the small walls in this strategy. That way they do extra damage, allowing you to clap characters faster. When you combine the big and small walls, you can do extra pick damage and you get bonus heals. So keep that in mind. The mistake I see most players doing with Groot is using his walls as a shield, trying to block damage from coming at him. And the only issue with this is it also blocks them from getting damage from your team. Make sure to coordinate with your team if you want to be the most effective Groot possible. You need to be focusing tanks here. Your job as Groot is to isolate tanks from enemy healers. That way you can take advantage and pick those tanks off, weakening that team and win the round. And that's how you play Groot in Marvel Rivals.